Well, all right, listen. I'm going to share a story today that I've never shared publicly, but it's a funny story. It's an incredibly funny story about a climb called Sacre Bleu. I think is what it's called. Sacre Bleu is how you pronounce it. But that's a very special climb, and I'll tell you a bunch of times that I climbed it in this episode, as well as something that I never thought I would share publicly. But maybe you guys will enjoy this episode. What is up, guys? For those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Philip Setter. I'm an avid ice climber, rock climber, and backcountry skier here in Canada. I'm also an insurance broker that specializes in insuring individuals that are engaged in those sports. If that sounds interesting, I'll put a link in the description, but you can check that out. But let's get right into the episode. Okay, so Sacre Bleu. Yeah, okay. So let's talk about this climb. God, this is an interesting climb for me. I've done it a bunch of different times throughout my climbing career. So basically, it's above Professor Falls on Mount Rundle. It's far on the left side of Mount Rundle. It's 2 pitches, WI5 plus, I want to say, something around there. But to get to it, you have to climb Professor Falls first, or you could walk up the gully. But I mean, would you rather climb or walk up a gully? I mean, I would rather climb. So I've always taken Professor Falls to get up to it. Professor Falls is like, I don't even know. There's a lot of walking in Professor Falls too. It's probably like 400 or 500 meters, but I think there's only like 5 pitches. It depends how you pitch it out. But anyways. So I'll tell you the first story of when I first went to Sacre for the first time with my good buddy Travis Tenhove. Unfortunately, Travis Tenhove passed away in a climbing accident a couple of years ago. That's a totally another story. I was with him at the time, unfortunately, and anyways, that's another story. But Travis was at the time was a really good friend of mine and close climbing partner. We climbed quite a bit together. And so, I've told this story so many times. I hope you guys enjoy this story. So anyways, he reaches out. He's like, hey, man, do you want to go climbing? Maybe we'll climb something. We're looking at Avi conditions, making sure Avi is still good. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'd love to go climb something. So this was now like February or March. And he's like, why don't we try Sacre Bleu? It's like this WI5. We got to climb Professors to get there. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. That sounds awesome, man. And so we meet up. Oh, so I got to tell you the backstory though. Okay, so listen. So Travis lived in Red Deer, and he had a family, a wife and a kid. And so he didn't get out as much. Okay, so when he did get out, it was few and far between, and he loved ice climbing more than anything. And so I wanted to make sure that, that we got out. So the day before we went, I'm like, okay, I'm stoked to go. And around like 2:00 in the afternoon, I start to have like these stomach cramps and I'm not feeling that well. And you guys are like, oh, I can see where this story is going. Let me tell it. Hang on. So anyway, I don't want to bail on him, right? Because like he doesn't get out that often. So I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to bail on him. We're going to do this climb. And so the day goes on, I'm not feeling great. I go to bed. Wake up, I don't know, like 2:00 in the morning or something, like whenever we leave, like some stupid, ungodly early hour. And we're going out and I feel like a little bit better. I still feel a little bit off, but I feel a little bit better. And we meet up in Calgary. He drives down, I don't know, 4:00 or something like that. We're driving out, having a good time. We got the bikes, we park, we bike in to Professors. I'm still feeling I can't believe I'm telling you guys this story. You guys, listen, keep this, between us and all of YouTube, I guess. So we get to the base of Professors and I take the first pitch. I get up the first pitch. I bring him up, and then he comes up. He leads the second pitch, and then I'm following up. I get to the top of the second pitch. I'm coming up to him, and I'm like, I'm really not feeling well. Like my stomach hurts and everything. And I was like, oh, I gotta let some gas out. I'm like, oh, I don't feel good. I go to fart. I go to let some gas out. Listen, guys, listen. I wasn't feeling well. I had the flu. You guys can picture what happened. You guys can picture. It wasn't a fart. It was not gas. That's not what it was. It was liquid. It was pure liquid. It was pure liquid. And I just stop. I stop. And I'm like, I'm like, Travis, I'm like, something bad just happened. And he's like, what happened, dude? I was like, listen, I just shit my pants. He's like, oh, stay over there then. Stay over there for a while until it goes away. I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't think you understand. Like, this isn't like a metaphor. This is like, this is serious. And he's like, what? I was like, dude, I haven't been feeling well. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And listen, so I always climb in basically the same thing. I have the Arc'teryx Gore-Tex bibs that I climb in, with whatever, and I zip all that up, and then I have like, it's all Gore. I'm sealed in Gore-Tex from head to toe. I'm sealed in Gore-Tex, right? And he's like, he's looking at me, and he's like, well, what do you want to do, right? Like, what do you want to do? Should we go down? Like, should we go down? And I was like, Travis, I said, listen, dude, I was like, we're in this. We're in this together now. I said, I'm committed to this climb, dude. I'm 100% committed to this climb. And he's like, okay, dude. So I climbed the rest of that day. And a lot of people, I've told this story to like a few people here and there. And they're like, well, why didn't you just like, go and like change and like, and I was like, no, I don't think you understand, dude. This was pure liquid that soaked into everything. And the only escape that it had, because I had all this Gore-Tex sealed up, the only escape was that basically I had my zipper on my jacket zipped up to my nose. And that was the only place that escaped. And so every like 5 minutes, I'm like, oh God, this is disgusting. So now, listen, you guys know how committed I am to ice climbing. I am an addict for ice climbing, and I will climb through anything. And listen, we got to the top of Professor Falls, and then you have to hike over to Sacre, which is another like 2 hours, 3 hours of like hiking. And the more that I sweat, the grosser it got. And I remember it was like one part, I was like 100 meters away, and Travis is like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, dude, you're 100 meters from me, and I am me. I'm right next to me. So anyways, yeah, pretty disgusting. But listen, I'm committed to ice climbing. You guys now know the story. But listen, this is what happened after, though. Okay, so we go to Sacre, we climb the first pitch, and unfortunately, we had to bail. Because there was like pinwheels coming down. We were just looking at conditions. It's in a huge Avi zone. Like above it, there's a massive, massive bowl. And you can literally just see the like Avi zone. Like it's like right below you. It's this massive Avi debris slide. It's all it is. All year round, just Avi debris, right? So it slides regularly. It's insane. It's a terrifying environment. It's like up in the middle of this mountain. You're like on the side of a mountain, totally alpine. So, and we bailed after the first pitch because we started seeing some pinwheels come down and some spin drifts. And we're like, nah, we're not doing this. So we came down, like long day. We get down to the car, 13 hours. We're driving back into Calgary. He's like, do you want to stop in Canmore? And I was like, there's no point, dude. I've just climbed 13 hours in this. Like, I'm basically going to get, a torch. I'm just going to torch everything. Right. So we get back to my house, and I said, listen, Travis, listen, nobody needs to know about what happened today. I was like, listen, things happen, between partners in the mountains that don't need to be repeated anywhere, right? They can stay between us. And he's like, yeah, man, no worries, 100%. I'm not going to tell anyone. Don't worry, you're safe with me. I'm like, for sure, dude. Sounds good. So anyways, I get in the house, everything goes in the washing machine right away. I get in the shower, I'm like dumping bleach all over my body. Anyways, long story short, like I mentioned, yeah, unfortunately, Travis passed away in a climbing accident, which was terribly sad, and it's been quite devastating. But just to kind of finish this story up, though, after he passed away, he had sworn to me that he had told no one that our secret was safe, right? And after he passed away, there was a visitation, right? Or what do they call that? Is it visitation, or basically like where you kind of, the night before the funeral, whatever it's called, I can't remember. And I'd never met his family before. I talked to them on the phone. But they lived in Red Deer, and so I'd never talked to them before. So I talked to them on the phone after the accident had happened, and I said I was going to come up, and so I come up, and we come into this funeral hall, and everyone's obviously like teary eyed, and the mood is quite somber. And I walk up, and I see Megan, his wife, and introduce myself, and we talked on the phone, but we had never met in person. And then all of a sudden, I start saying hi. His brother comes, and it's, oh, hey, nice to meet you. My name is this, right? And I said, oh yeah, my name's Philip. And I'm thinking, they're going to say, oh, Philip, you were with him when he passed away. No, this is what they say. They're like, oh, Philip Setter, you're Captain Poopy Pants. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I've heard so much about you. You're the guy that shit his pants on that climb. I'm like, how do you know that? He's like, what do you mean, how do I know? Everybody knows. Travis told that story at every single family event. His grandma walks up, like in her 70s, and she even knows me as Captain Poopy Pants. She's like, oh, you're the man that shit his pants. The whole time this guy is, oh, I'd never tell anyone. Yeah, no, he told every single person in his family. So yeah, anyways, that was the first time we went to Sacre Bleu, but very special place. We came back, myself and Ryan Keane, good climbing partner of mine as well. I think we came the next year and climbed it. Phenomenal condition. I led the first pitch. Ryan led the second pitch, which by and far was the total crux pitch of it. Super awesome lead by Ryan. Like for sure WI 5+ condition. There is a video of this on the channel, but I'll probably overlay. For sure, I'll overlay some video for this. But pretty phenomenal place. I went one other time as well, and this was like, yeah, just a really cool, I think, tribute. And I'd like to finish it because I didn't get to finish it. But I went another time by myself. I think this was the year after, so it would have been 2021. Yeah, 2021. So I went there, climbed Professors, went up to it, and there's such a there's such an amazingness to being totally alone in the mountains. Like I don't love soloing for the art of soloing, if that makes sense. Like I don't love soloing because it's like, oh, it's crazy, you're like climbing without a rope, right? And that's not why I solo. I don't solo to not have a rope. I solo because I like to be alone in the mountains, right? So like I don't get a lot of joy out of like soloing with partners, if that makes sense, right? If it's like me and another guy and we're like, yeah, let's like solo this and not put any screws in. I'm like, yeah, no, we might as well just put screws in. There's two of us, right? That's not why I enjoy soloing. I enjoy soloing because I get to be alone in the mountains, which is like, for me personally, one of the most rewarding experiences that I can have personally. I that's one of my most favorite things, is just like totally being alone by myself in the mountains. It's like a phenomenal experience. So going up to Sacre by myself was so cool. It was, I feel like it was really just like a tribute being there again. Thinking back, on Travis and being there by myself was an amazing experience. Unfortunately, yeah. So I climbed Professors, and then I hiked up, and then I got to the base of Sacre. And I kind of just sat at the base, drinking my tea for maybe about half an hour. and just looking at the climb, because like it's so like the Avi train up there is like full on. So it's not something that I take lightly. I mean, the last thing that I want to have happen, obviously, is, you know, be on a climb by myself and an avalanche comes down. So I sat there for about half an hour and waited for, you know, just to see the conditions, right? Like see if anything was coming down. And for half an hour, nothing happened. No pinwheels, no spin drift, no wind, no nothing, like nothing, no sloughs off the mountain. And so I thought, okay, you know, it's game on. That's awesome. So I got up to it. I started climbing it, and I think I made it about 2/3 of the way up before continual spin drift started to come down, and I could look up and I saw kind of at the very top of the climb, there was this wind funnel that had formed. So I, you know, one came down and then another one came down. I think like 3 or 4 of these like mini slough spin drifts had came down on me. And I was like, yeah, no, fuck this. Like there's no way. So it was at that point that I basically I built an anchor, built a V-thread, and I bailed, pardon me. So yeah, I'd love to go back and actually finish it. It's a very special place. The Avi conditions are quite severe up there, so you definitely want to make sure that it's a low kind of avalanche day. But if you do get the opportunity to go up there, I think that, you know, you'll be quite surprised at the polarity between Professor Falls and between Sacre Bleu, because you think they're in the same area. Like a lot of people have done Professor Falls and you think like, well, they're in the same general area, so they probably feel quite similar. They feel so completely different. It's insane. Like Professor Falls feels like this super chill day out. And I've done Professor Falls dozens of times. And it's just like a super fun, chill day. You know, all the climbing is like fun, chill. You're never scared. You're in this fun little environment, you know, and it feels very tame. And then it's so crazy how 2 hours past Professors, you then feel like, oh my God, I'm like totally on the side of a mountain in the middle of nowhere, you know, like in this crazy alpine environment, and this climb just goes like it is a full 140, 150 meters of 140, actually 140 meters of like full on climbing from start to finish, like no breaks, no rest. It's like pretty full on. So yeah, if you get the chance, you know, on a low kind of Avi day to get out there and do it, it's a pretty amazing climb. So yeah, anyways, I guess that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you guys in the next one.